back, learners. Previously, we introduced fieldwork. We looked at the meaning of the fieldwork, and we looked at the importance of fieldwork, and we had just started on the stages in fieldwork. We looked at the 5 stages: preparation stage, number 2, collecting data, number 3, recording the data, number 4, processing the data, number 5, analysis and interpretation of the data. So in this lesson, we are going to look at them one by one. We start with the first one, preparation stage. The preparation stage. This is the initial stage, the first stage in fieldwork. Under preparation stage, number 1, you state the purpose and scope of the research. Number 1, you state the purpose and scope of the research. Why are you going to do this research? What are you going to research on? That is the first thing you do under preparation stage. Deciding on what is to be researched. Deciding on what is to be researched. So that is the first thing you do under preparation. After you have known and you have indicated clearly the scope of the research, now you're going to point number 2 under preparation. The researcher then identifies the catchment area location of the study. Identify the catchment area. Identify the catchment area. So now you have decided, for example, you're going to research on oral songs, and then you identify the area where you're going to do your study. That falls under the preparation stage. So you say, I'm going to this and this place, this and this community, and that is where I'm going to conduct my field work. Number 3, you conduct a pre-visit under preparation stage. A pre-visit is very, very important during a field work. When you go for the pre-visit, you go and meet the informants, you go and see the transport of the place, the weather, the climate, and everything. That is why it is very important you go for a pre-visit. So that when you go now for the actual field work, you have all the information that you need. Again, under preparation stage, it is important to do library research in the topic of research so as to establish a research gap. So you do library research. You do a library research so that you can establish if there are any gaps. So you go and do a thorough checkup in the library, and if there is a gap, then you, of course, close that gap. Another point at the preparation stage, you're supposed to prepare material for recording and any necessary equipment. Prepare material for recording and any other necessary equipment. You prepare the materials and the equipment. So if you're going to collect your data using the films, the tapes, you prepare them so that you don't get to the field and you realize, oh my God, I left my camera at home. So you prepare everything and make sure if you're going to procure, you have procured and you're ready for the field work. Number 7, you work out an estimation of time. Work out estimation of time. Estimation of time and budget. Estimation of time and budget. Know how much you need, how much time you need, and how much money that you need. Now let's go to number 2, the stage number 2. We are done with preparation. This is the initial stage. You prepare everything so that you're ready for your field work. Number 2, it is collecting data. Collecting data. Now you have gone to the field and now you're in the stage number 2. This is done systematically using specific techniques such as observation, questionnaires, interviews, and participation. So that is stage number 2, where you collect the data. This is where you need to establish a rapport with your informant so that you can be able to collect all the data that you need. In another lesson, we are going to look at each of the methods of data collection. Number 3. So we are done with stage number 1, preparation. Number 2, collecting data. Number 3, we are now recording the data. Recording the data, this is done by writing. You can write down the data, taping. You tape, and then filming. So that is how you're going to record your data. That is stage number 3, recording the data. Now let's go to stage number 4. Stage number 4. Stage number 4, it is processing the data that you have collected. Processing the data. This is the scrutiny of information collected in preparation for interpretation, documentation, and dissemination. Processing the data, this is where you scrutinize the information that you have collected in preparation for interpretation, documentation, and dissemination. That is stage number 4. And lastly, after you're done with processing the data, now you go to the analysis, the last stage. Analysis and interpretation. Analysis and interpretation of the data. This is now the final stage in the fieldwork. Here, this involves classifying the collected materials, classifying the collected materials, into genres, so you classify the material that the information or the material that you have collected into genres and subgenres using specific criteria, into genres and subgenres. Then, in this stage, you also interpret the information. Interpreting the information. And lastly, drawing conclusions. You draw conclusions. Learners, we have looked into the 4 stages in fieldwork, starting from the first one, preparation stage, collecting data, recording the data, processing the data, analysis and interpretation of the data. So those are the 5 stages that every researcher going for field work should undergo. If you pass any stage, then your field work will not be complete. So in our next lesson, dear learners, we are going to look at challenges that you are likely to face when conducting field work. Thank you very much.